there's a part of me that didn't want to react to this, but the reality on the ground is that Paul Finebaum has a sizable following and his voice is very influential in the world of college sports. I will say, like many of you, I got a kick out of Paul Finebaum getting dunked on by Lane Kiffin when they sat down together at SEC Media Days. Now, do I think everything Paul Finebaum says is ridiculous? No. This was ridiculous, though. This was absurd. So Paul Finebaum is asked about USC, and he is in the anti-Lincoln Riley camp. I am not in that camp personally. I have staked my flag down and said I think Lincoln Riley can still coach and will get better from the 8-5 disastrous season by USC and his standard that they had a season ago. Not trying to tell you that was a good year. It wasn't. They went 1-5 in their last 6 games. That I don't care if you're in the midst of a 4-8 season. That shouldn't happen at USC. It should never happen at USC. So I'm not trying to argue that that was good. But this lunacy that Paul Finebaum proposed just drove me up a wall. Because I don't even know if he actually believes it. It's one of those takes that I think is really, really common on national TV and televised sports talk to generate attention. And look, maybe it's working here. But again, I say, I do not want this to go. I'm going to do whatever I can to push back on the notion that this could be considered a serious sports take, because it is not. So he thinks Deion Sanders could replace Lincoln Riley if he gets fired after this year. Number one, USC is not going to be so bad of a football team that Lincoln Riley gets fired. That's the first part. Number two, the idea that Deion Sanders is the right replacement is just so... It's such an eye roll. I mean, it's such an eye roll. And for any of you out there who saw this take or heard about it and thought to yourself, that's so ridiculous. Why would that ever happen? There are a couple reasons why, and I'll get to that in a moment. That's ridiculous. I assure you, I had a more visceral reaction. It's pretty hard to make me legitimately upset when my sports teams do dumb things in big games. That's one way. Me playing golf like crap. And yeah, that's about it. And then seeing takes like this. So the idea that Deion would just bolt, just because Shador's going to get drafted after this year and Travis Hunter will be taken in the NFL draft after this year, as if those are the only players that are good that Colorado has on their roster or that Deion could ever get to go play football at Colorado. That's the first reason it's ridiculous, is the suggestion being, well, USC is a much better job. Yeah, it is. It is a much better job. Does it make it a much better job for Deion? No. The fit with Deion in Colorado is actually quite perfect, because for their entire run in the Pac-12, Colorado, and for the years before that too, they were irrelevant. They were non-existent in the football space, in the recruiting space, in the media space. No one cared. No one talked about them. They didn't generate any buzz, so they didn't get any great players. But Deion comes in and suddenly maximizes the attention there, and everyone goes absolutely crazy because of the insane television ratings. I mean, what Colorado did last year from a television standpoint, from 2023 to 2022, it has to be the largest year-over-year jump in television viewership in college football history. I don't have that documented. I'm just saying I don't know how a school could go from like the 40s or 50s nationally in television viewership to top 5. Okay, that jump, that is not normal. That is not normal. But that's why they were a great fit. Deion Sanders at USC, look, has Deion Sanders recruited the high school kids exceptionally well whilst at Colorado? No. No, he has not. His transfer portal classes, off the charts good by Colorado standards and by a lot of standards. They are bringing in a lot of their roster through there. And this is going to be a prove-it year for whether or not that is sustainable. Can you just largely, not entirely, but largely neglect high school recruiting and bring in 30 to 40 kids every year via the transfer portal? Does that work? Can you build a culture? Can you get an environment? We're going to find out. I think Colorado's a bowl team this year. I don't think they're much more than that, but I think they're 6-6, 7-5 sort of team. They addressed their weaknesses this offseason. I'm inclined to reward with my predictions coaches and teams that address their weaknesses. Lincoln Riley and USC fall into this category, by the way. But Deion Sanders going to USC, what about that feels like a good fit? Well, it's prime time in Hollywood. What, is prime time lacking for attention up in Boulder? I think the friction between the Los Angeles media, who have been very tough, oftentimes justifiably so, on Lincoln Riley, or the national media that would cover USC in that sense, with Deion Sanders there, I think it'd be magnified even more. And I think so little about what Deion would do at USC would be about coaching. It would be about the Deion experience. It would be about the hype machine. So that's another reason I don't think that's going to happen. Here's another one. If he goes from 4-8 his first year, that was Colorado's record a season ago, to, let's just say, 6-6 this year. Let's say he then goes 7-6 and he wins a bowl game, beats a decent team. Why would Deion Sanders want to go and start over? Because if USC is such a train wreck, if it's such a disaster, the way that Finebaum thinks that it could be for the Trojans, or that Lincoln Riley is capable of delivering, again, an opinion I do not personally share, if that happens, if you're Deion Sanders, why would you go and start over? Why would you go and seek out this new venture? What is to be gained? Well, the upward momentum is there. Well, you haven't even demonstrated to yourself. Certainly Deion's not a guy who is short on self-belief. But you haven't even proven to yourself, or more importantly, this is my final point, to USC, that that's the right hire. A coach that's gone 4-8, 7-5, I don't care what the program was when Deion got there. If you hire a coach that has gone 4-8, 7-6 to go be the head man at USC, that's not going to go over well. It will be friction from the moment he gets there. He'd throw away what he has built so far in Colorado. And can he win a conference championship at Colorado easier than USC? The answer is probably yes. Like, the path to getting to the top of your league and getting an automatic playoff berth and a bye in the playoff is more attainable at Colorado than it will be at USC. Because at Colorado, you're going to have to go up against, in the coming years, Kansas State, good program, never made the college football playoff before. Utah is going to lose their head coach here shortly. Oklahoma State came close, literally a couple inches away from, but also has not made the college football playoff before. One of the highest floor programs in college football, but the ceiling, it's okay. It's fine. It's good. It's not great. In the Big Ten, you have to go up against Ohio State. They've won a national championship, made the playoffs several times. Oregon, they've got top 5 national championship odds this year. They recruited a top 5 level. Michigan, they just won a national championship. Penn State, they're going to be a playoff team every single year. Do you see how much tougher that is? You got to go through those teams. And by the way, I understand you're at USC. You'd probably be able to recruit really, really well. But what about the other teams in the Big Ten that could ascend? You got to throw Wisconsin into the mix. You got to throw Washington into the mix. You got to put, what if Iowa figures out their offense? Just keep going down the list. This is not comparable. They are not the same. So it's a ridiculous take. I don't even know if it was fully serious. And I just want to do everything that I can to tell all of you in the college football world out there that this is absurd on many fronts.